Red alert, people. Red alert. We have more emergency breaking news regarding Trump's election related power grab, and it gets so much worse. As we speak, Trump is meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in the Oval Office. During that meeting, not only did Trump double down on his threats to use the federal government unconstitutionally to eliminate mail in voting and voting machines, he is now publicly floating the idea of declaring war so he can suspend the presidential election in 3.5 years, and he says it right here in the Oval Office. Take a look.
Upon peace, God willing we get peace, are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances, and a little bit we need to work in the parliament, because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need, maybe, how to say, we need a truth, yes, everywhere, in the battlefield, in the sky, in the sea, yeah, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now, so you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections. Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake
You like this idea?
Yeah.
No.
So that is Donald Trump publicly floating the idea of declaring war or getting the United States involved in some sort of war so as to prevent a presidential election in 3.5 years. Now, MAGA Republicans will say he's joking, except number one, if a Democrat joked this way, they would be ready to secede from the Union. Number two, this particular president, Donald Trump, has engaged in unprecedented, extraordinary attempts to remain in power unlawfully. You recall the fake elector scheme in 2020 when he lost a free and fair election, trying to fraudulently get himself declared the winner. He fomented a violent insurrection against the United States Constitution and Congress and sicked violent insurrectionists against even Republican lawmakers to try to keep himself in power. And then on top of what he talked about today, as we discussed in a previous video, this is part of a pattern in addition to months, if not years, of Trump floating the idea of staying in office in 2028 for an unconstitutional third term. And he's saying it out in the open. He is testing the waters for the country's apathy or support for such an authoritarian move. This is shocking. This is not a joke. People should not grade him on a curve in this way or laugh it off. You should treat it the same way you would if any other politician, including a Democrat, let alone one with this authoritarian streak, was saying this shit. Put the pieces together. Trump 2028, talking about running in 2028, having the Trump 2028 merchandise that he's selling, talking about finding ways to stay in office after his 22nd Amendment compelled second term. And now this, using Ukraine as an example. Well, hey, Russia invaded you all. You had to suspend elections. Maybe we could do that too in 3.5 years. Folks, we are seeing fascism culminate in Trump. We're 6 months in, and he's already testing the waters to see, are people laughing? Are people downplaying it? Are people just going, that's just Trump being Trump and moving on? That is shocking, despicable, and fascistic as hell, and we need to be sounding the alarm. There are some other clips as well in which he doubles down on his threats from this morning to use the federal government to eliminate mail-in voting and voting machines. And this comes from the advice and the manipulation of Vladimir Putin. Remember that context as well. Trump mentions it in this clip.
Real quickly, you pushed out on social media.
Brian, go first.
You pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that and how important
Well,
that is?
that's a very off-topic, just really quickly. Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them.
Total bullshit. 30 countries use mail-in voting, including the countries, at least some of the countries, whose leaders are at the White House and are meeting with Trump. Russia uses mail-in voting. Putin's own country does. But he's trying to sow chaos and foment division and manipulate Trump. So Trump, once again, is proving his stupidity, his ignorance, and his authoritarian impulse on full display.
Because of what's happened, massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, but most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up. He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in, and it's time.
President Carter never said that. That was not the conclusion of the Carter Foundation. Just no evidence of this. And if he had evidence of substantive mail-in voting fraud or just voter fraud in general, he would have been able to present it. Every time Trump has been forced to present evidence, which is in court of law, because otherwise he's free to just run his mouth with impunity and not have to substantiate his claims. But every time a venue has forced Trump to put up or shut up, he's lost because he's a loser, because he's objectively wrong. This is an authoritarian power grab.
Time that the Republicans get tough and stop it, because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected. Because with men and women's sports and with transgender for everybody and open borders and all of the horrible things, and now the new thing is they love crime.
So again, just an unhinged rant. He's appealing to the greatest hits of the Republican Party. Transgender for everybody. This idea that Democrats can't win elections, Democrats are competitive with Republicans winning elections. There's this myth. Quite frankly, many liberals and progressives also adopt this notion, just all Democrats do is lose. No. We beat, number one, Hillary Clinton beat Trump in terms of the popular vote. As unpopular as she was in 2016, Trump was objectively less popular. He won via the Electoral College. We kicked Trump and the Republicans' ass in 2018. It was a midterm blowout in which we retook substantial control of the House of Representatives. We beat Trump in the presidential election in 2020. We took control of the Senate in 2021 by flipping 2 red state seats. Georgia, both of Georgia's senators became Democrats. We overperformed in the 2022 midterm cycle. There was supposed to be a red wave, and it was more of a pinkish trickle, which allowed Republicans to take a very narrow control of the House of Representatives, but we expanded our Senate majority in those same elections. The 2023 off-year elections also disproportionately went to Democrats. Now, did we lose in 2024 decisively? Yes, of course. That's the thing. Democrats know that Republicans and Democrats can compete with one another in free, fair, and competitive elections. It's Republicans who fear an even playing field because they feel that they have to rig the game in their favor. One more clip from Trump.
Where some people get 5, 6, 7 ballots delivered to them. Now, we got to stop mail-in voting, and the Republicans have to lead the charge. The Democrats want it because they have horrible policy. If you have mail-in voting, you're not going to have many Democrats get elected. That's bigger than anything having to do with redistricting, believe me. And the Republicans have to get smart. We're not going to have a country. I said for a long time at rallies, you need borders and you need free and fair elections.
To Donald Trump, a free and fair election is one in which he cannot lose, or one in which Republicans cannot lose. That's the only free and fair election he can compute. Okay, is it possible for me to lose? Is it possible for Republicans to lose? Is it 50-50? Is it competitive? Oh, then it's not free and fair. You just heard him say it. It's all about keeping Democrats out of power. And he says it's even more important than the gerrymandering effort that he's trying to lead via Texas. So folks, I want you to think about this, okay? Set the rhetoric aside, although the rhetoric counts, it objectively counts. Anyone who says that the words of the sitting president of the United States, Democrat or Republican, Barack Obama, George Bush, Joe Biden, or Donald Trump, anyone who says the rhetoric of the sitting president of the United States doesn't matter is a fucking moron. But set that aside for a moment. Look at the actions. The fake elector plot in 2020, the refusal to concede to a peaceful transfer of power, violating the peaceful transfer of power by fomenting a violent insurrection to try to pressure lawmakers into rejecting the outcome of President Biden's victory. Trump demanding in 2022 that the Constitution be rescinded, revoked, terminated in order to kick Joe Biden out of the White House and put him back into power. Trump talking about a third term constantly, nonstop. We're looking for ways to make this happen. The Trump 2028 merchandise, the hats, the t-shirts that he's selling, the gerrymandering project that he has unleashed because he fears a competitive election to reign, because he knows, all else being equal, he will lose the 2026 midterms. Then the announcement this morning that he's going to sign an executive order using the powers of the state to force the elimination of voting machines and mail-in ballots. Facially unconstitutional, facially illegal, but you never know with this right-wing Supreme Court and what these conservative states, which constitute a majority of the states, not a majority of the people, but a majority of the states, what they will do. And now this, on top of it, Trump talking about starting a war or getting enmeshed in a war so as to prevent him from being removed from power. This is stunning. It's shocking. It's objectively authoritarian. It's objectively fascist. And everyone, you and I and everybody, need to be talking about it. So make sure you share this. Make sure you share and spread the word that Donald Trump is talking about suspending elections in 3.5 years so he won't have to leave office. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.